In question number 16, column 2 contains 5 situations in which round objects are rolling without slipping. Column 1 contains properties of frictional force acting on rolling object. So first of all, we have to analyze the column 2. So if I draw the free body diagram in the first case, then F force is acting in this direction and let friction is acting at this point in this direction. Similarly, if I draw free body diagram of solid cylinder in this case, mg sin theta is acting in this direction and frictional force is acting in this direction. Since the solid sphere in the state of perfect rolling, so the frictional force in this case is 0, and in case of hollow sphere, since the force is acting at the line passing through the center, so the friction force will act in this direction. And in case of the solid sphere, since the plank is moving in this direction, so the friction force will act in this direction and the friction force on the solid sphere will act in this direction. So in this case, friction force is non-zero. In this case, friction force is non-zero. In this case, friction force is non-zero. Here the friction force is 0. And since it is a hollow cylinder similar to that of a ring, so in this situation, the value of the friction comes out to be 0. When F force is applied at the topmost position, we have to write the equation of translative and rotational motion and then find out the value of F comes out to be 0. So let's check the entry of column 1. Friction force is 0. So it is 0 in P as well as in R. So the correct matching will be P and R. The friction force is in forward direction. So the friction force is forward direction in this case. So the correct matching will be T. Now the entry C is friction force is in backward direction. So the motion is in this direction. So this is backward direction. So the Q and S will be the correct matching. And work done by friction on the round object is 0. Since the displacement of this point is 0, so the work done is 0. In the same fashion, the displacement of this point is 0, so the work done is 0. But in this case, as we see from the ground frame, the point is displaced in the direction of the friction. So in this case, the work done by friction becomes non-zero. So the correct matching for D will be Q and S. So in question number 16, the correct matching for entry A is PR, for B is T, for entry C and D, it is QS. Let's move to question number 17. In question number 17, a uniform rod of uniform cross section under the application of forces shown in figure 1 and effects are given in column 2. All surfaces are smooth. First of all, we have to check the entry A of column 1. So in entry A of column 1, the force F is applied from this direction, and due to the application of this force, the block will accelerate in this direction. If I see the cross section at different positions, then the force at the cross sections will be different, and the force is different, then we can say that the non-uniform stress are developed in the rod. So the correct matching for entry A will be Q, and since the force is compressive in nature, so it is also matching R, and T is stress increases from left end to right end. In this case, the stress is more at the left end and less at the right end because the cross section at the left experience more compressive force. So the correct matching for entry A is Q bar. In the similar situation is given in the entry C. So if the force is applied at this position, again it is non-uniform stress developed. So Q, and since the stress is tensile in nature, so the correct matching will be S. Now in this case, the stress increases from left end to right end. So entry T is also matching. So the correct matching for C is QST. Now let's check entry B. In case of entry B, force is applied from both the directions. So in this case, the net acceleration of the rod is 0. Since the force is compressive, so the stress that is developed in the rod is compressive. So the correct matching will be P and R. And in case of entry D, the correct matching will be P and S. Entry T will be left out because each cross section experience same force. So the correct matching question number 17, for entry A it is QR, for entry B it is PR, for entry C it is QST, and for entry D it is PS. Let's move to question number 18.